I'll go in the dining room. Hi. Are you guys here? I'm moving so that we have more quiet. Tell me hello if you are here. Okay. Dining room it is. Hi, Casey. Commenting. Anyway, sup, Ben. Hi, Nina. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Emily. Hello, Caroline. Hi, Vitahi. Hi, Hannah. Hey, Rosa. Hi, Frank. All right. So, hello to all of you. I hope this finds you doing well and everybody is staying healthy. We actually had to venture out today. Wyatt's little helmet was causing some friction on his skin and some redness. Oh, look, I get more people. Hi, Grace. Hi, Reagan. Hi, Mackenzie. Hi, Melanie. Hey, Mila. Hey, Lindsay. So we had to go to the doctor at Showa because that's where the helmet is from. Are we unfrozen now? Are we okay? Hi, Michael. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Melody. Hi, Nicole. And when we got there, they took my temperature. They took Wyatt's temperature. They asked us some questions and we were allowed to go in, but goodness. Anyway, I think it's interesting that everything that's going on right now, we could involve the government in our discussion. Hey, Luke. And so really, I thought what it might be a good thing for us to do with our time today is to review the executive branch and really also to kind of talk about some things that are coming up and if we continue to be out for a while, how we'll proceed. Also, just an FYI, those two things that are due, hello, Connor, hello, Nandini. Those two things that are due on turnitin.com, the executive order web quest and the amendments having to go with the executive branch. I know I said that they were due today and then I extended it to Sunday. I'm flexible, okay? I'm flexible. Hi, Drew. Hi, Allie. So if you guys have an issue with getting something in, just, email me and we'll go from there. I know that some of your classes are probably requiring a little bit more than others. And I don't want to contribute to that, to like a stress for you. Yes, thank you. I want you guys to feel comfortable with the pace that we're setting and what I'm asking of you. Because I'm trying to get you to do a lot of learning on your own. And I know that that'll require slower paces for some. Hello, Mr. Henry. So nice of you to stop by. So yeah, that's just our plan, y'all. I really want us to sit back, attempt to relax, continue learning together because I know this goes against everything that you've done for your educational careers in a sense, try to ignore the idea of grading, okay? If I'm giving you an assignment, it's for you to learn, okay? So it's gonna have to be pure and simple, intrinsic motivation for you. And I'll certainly allow you to do a lot of things. Hi, Hannah. I'll certainly allow you guys to do a lot of things with each other virtually. I know some of you are getting together. I did get a fabulous picture of some people playing lacrosse the other day and jumping up in the air that just made my heart soar with happiness. So if a couple of you are doing that, by all means, talk about government when you're doing that, okay? Hey, Marissa. Hey, Lauren. And look, I'm wearing another Parks and Rec shirt for you today. I have a office shirt in the wings for next time. I'll keep bringing the t-shirt game strong for you, I promise. Yes, learning for learning's sake. We love Cobb County. Thanks, Tori. And hello, Josie, and hello, Caroline. Great. Oh, I already said hi to Caroline, but just happy face back at you, kiddo. So why don't we take the beginning of our time together today to go over some of the executive branch stuff that maybe, hey, Ansley, maybe was confusing to y'all. And I'm also going to be pulling from this much loved, much used, you like the discoloration? Hi, Kylie. Hi, Abby. Book of AP US Government and Politics Crash Course that I really would suggest you getting, hey, Reese, to help you out for the AP exam. It just does a good job of kind of consolidating a lot of stuff in one place, okay? So be thinking about the PowerPoint that you watched and listened to. Did everybody get those executive branch note-taking guides filled out? Were there any things that, hey, Stephen, confused you while you were filling it out, or any concepts that we should spend some time today discussing? So I'll just let you type and we'll go from there. Coffee. Hey, Allison. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm asking you for maybe some concepts from the executive branch that may have been a little confusing to you, and we can talk about those. Was anybody confused by going public or the bully pulpit? Ooh, you have questions about one of the Turnitin assignments. Okay, Clarissa, bring it. What's your question? I probably have an answer. There's a Disney princess in the background here, guys. It's Queen Elsa. Frozen 2, not to be confused with Frozen 1 Elsa. You want to know about Guantanamo Bay? Okay, so I believe you're referring to the executive order WebQuest, correct? Did you guys happen to see just how many executive orders there have been? Anybody happen to recall any of the numbers of any of Trump's executive orders? How many digits are involved? For example, has President Trump issued Executive Order 101? Anybody know? Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. 143. That was when we would text or send each other pager messages. That was short for I love you. There's a lot. Yes, it's 13,000 something. 13,000, y'all. That is unreal. Unreal. Okay. So good, Nikita, Katie. Yes, Amanda, you guys are absolutely right. Yes, Joseph, it's a lot. So the question I believe on the WebQuest that Clarissa is asking about is President Obama attempted to close Guantanamo Bay, but ran into issues in doing so, and why he ran into issues. So does anybody know the answer to that? I'll put that out to the community. Then you can type in your responses. And then I will also address what Riley wanted to know about in the meantime, unilateral presidential action. Okay, so Nikita says Congress blocked the funding. Clarissa, you're broading. That's really good. I haven't been in school for a week. Can you tell? You're bringing up the point that CIA was involved. So do you know why President Obama wanted to close Guantanamo Bay? And then Josie has the question, what happens if the president passes an executive order that's just really unconstitutional? Okay, so Guantanamo Bay is there for a very specific reason. All military bases are considered US soil. You guys know that, right? Because if somebody is born on a military base, can they be president one day? Answer that for me. If you're born on a military base, can you be president? Yes or no? Yes, Nikita, Shia, Riley, Reese, you're all correct. You can. So it is technically U.S. soil. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Gabby. Yes, yes. No need for the question mark. You were correct. Yes, Hannah. Yes, Sydney. Yes, Grace. Yes, Josie. Indeed, says Ben. Indeed. Okay. So yes, Alexis. Yes, Zara. Don't you worry, Caroline. I know you're good to go. Yes, Drew. Okay. So it is U.S. soil. So what happens there, it needs to, the same rights that people have would extend to what's happening in Guantanamo Bay for those individuals who are being tried and questioned there. And Guantanamo Bay, essentially, a lot of its space, I believe Nikita brought up that it was a dark mark on our history, is a lot of the folks who were being detained there were being subjected to forms of torture, and they were detained because of 9/11. So the people who were manning that base were taking matters into their own hands and were harming those individuals in ways that the Geneva Accords said you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to waterboard. You're not supposed to do many other things. And so President Obama wanted to shut it down. But I guess technically this is one of the examples that presidents are limited in their executive orders. Go ahead and give me some examples of why they're limited in their executive orders, please, in your live comments. For Guantanamo Bay specifically, it involved jobs. It was a nice strategic location, Clarissa, for where we would like to be in terms of our presence with other foreign nations. We just want to have, I mean, we want to have missiles there. We want to have the capability to launch an airstrike from there that is a little bit closer to some bypass Congress, essentially the legislative process, by issuing these executive orders. And so I wrote down a couple of examples because I knew you guys would have some questions involving unilateral presidential action, which are what executive orders are. So when FDR established the internment camps, right? The Supreme Court looked at that. They did. They looked at whether or not that was constitutional, and they determined that it was constitutional because there was a national crisis or a national emergency had been established. That was the last time that Congress has declared war, was in 1941. And we needed to be able to respond to threats from outside and from threats within. And so they felt as though people of German descent, Italian descent, and Japanese descent needed to be kept in close areas so that we could keep an eye on them, and also was for their own protection and security. So SCOTUS felt as though that was not unconstitutional due to reasons of national security. And then Sarah, you're bringing up checks and balances. So an example of the judicial branch checking executive orders would be by saying that something is unconstitutional. For example, when President Trump early on in his presidency closed down or issued some travel bans on some mostly Muslim countries, do you guys recall that stuff? The Supreme Court upheld part of that travel ban and then said that other parts were unconstitutional. And actually some earlier federal courts did the same as well. And so President Trump issued another executive order, just kind of retweaking that language to ensure that it wasn't necessarily discriminatory. Yes, Willow, you can come in here if you need me. Yeah, so SCOTUS can block parts, Casey. That's exactly what I was just saying. Very good. Riley, you're saying checks and balances so the president can't just do whatever the heck they want. That's right. Ooh, and congressional oversight. Yes. So don't forget, Congress has the biggest power of appropriations. What's another fun way to word the power of appropriations that Congress has? Hey, Elsa. Oh, hi. Oh, yogurt kiss. Thank you. So what is that power that Congress has that you could call, or that you could describe it in a different phrase? The power of having to do with money. If you guys ever ask your parents for money and maybe someone has to reach into she is cute, yeah. Willow, Steven says hi. Yes, good job, Haven. Yes, good job, Clarissa. That's the power of the purse, right? So Congress has the ability to issue appropriations, and that can really limit the power that an executive order has. So very good. Reese, Hannah, June, Shia, Kira, I'm glad you thought it was cute. Riley, Gabby, Nicole, Haven, I'm so glad you didn't miss it. Zara and Rosa, yes. So all of those things are the power of the person. That really does limit the power of the president through executive orders, okay? Let's see here. Earlier, hi, Pumpkin. Earlier, let's see.
You already checked.
Caroline, you mentioned can determine constitutionality. Very good. So Ben, in terms of Congress saying no, I think you could say that they could say no in terms of appropriations. That's the best way. And yes, Tori, that court case that I was talking about earlier is Korematsu versus the US. Nicely done. Stephen, I don't know what you mean. You just checked on oranges. What does that mean? Hey, Sean, Drew says, what's up? He says, what's up, Drew? There you go. All righty. So that's really a good example of a way that Congress and the Supreme Court can kind of limit some of those unilateral presidential actions. And then earlier, I think it was Riley. Riley mentioned, oh, I'm glad you didn't choke, Stephen. Riley mentioned unilateral presidential action. So let's talk about those. There's 4 examples. Can you tell me what the other 3 are besides executive orders? Stephen, I'll tell him later, don't worry. I think they went down to the basement. Good, Caroline, executive privilege. Executive privilege, very good, executive privilege. Allison and Casey. Anna, you're mentioning executive agreements, good, as did Elaine. Nikita, the commander-in-chief is, he can act unilaterally as commander-in-chief. That's a good example, but that's more of an express power. Drew, executive privilege, very good. Allison, executive agreements. Yes, Mila, yes, Grace, executive agreements. Casey, signing statements. Hannah, executive agreements. Amanda, same thing with the commander-in-chief, like we mentioned earlier. Okay, so great. Lindsay and Katie and Anna, Nicole, and executive proclamations. We'll talk about those. Rosa, Alexis, Frank, and Connor, you're all mentioning executive agreements. Very good. So executive privileges, executive agreements and signing statements, and executive orders. Those are the 4 unilateral presidential actions. And guys, those are the ways that the president's power has truly expanded in the modern era. So an executive order and an executive agreement are similar. How? I know it's the awkward silent part, but you'll be fine. I'm fine. You're fine. You can come sit with me. You just have to be quiet, okay?
Okay.
Promise?
So would I ask you something?
No, because mommy's... It's okay. She promised to be quiet. Both are temporary. Good, Elaine. That's right. They are both temporary. And there's some other commonalities. They don't require congressional approval. Very good, June. Say hi to Amanda. Too shy. Okay. Don't require congressional approval. Good job, Nicole. Good job, Drew. Ooh, nice, Marissa. Seeing as though they are temporary, they're not necessarily going to carry on to the next president. Okay, so you guys get the gist. They're temporary and they bypass Congress, and they're temporary because they don't have the staying power because they didn't require congressional approval. So laws, executive orders essentially have the same force of law, but they don't have congressional approval. What do executive agreements have the same force of, but still bypass the Senate, specifically Senate? So executive agreements are like, yes.
We never were gonna do Frozen for a minute.
Well, we're not going to do Frozen right now. Mommy's in school.
No, you're not.
Treaties. Good job, June. Yeah. So rather than getting 2/3 of the Senate approval, good job, Haven, which is a big deal because a treaty is a permanent agreement with us and another nation. It just bypasses it. Now, just so you know, executive agreements, usually the content is kept secret from Congress and the public, which, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, doesn't that seem a little shady?
Don't go
So-
in there.
No. So that should let you know that Congress really does not like executive orders, and they really don't like executive agreements. If the executive order is routine, which most of them are, and if they have to do with how the bureaucracy is going to implement something, then it's okay. And Congress doesn't really care. But if it's something, yeah, Tori. Yeah, Kira. And good job sending Caroline. I mean, that's just an example of the president using unilateral president action. You get why they call it unilateral, right? It's just them making the decision. Remember, what was the main point of Hamilton in Federalist 70 regarding a plurality executive or a unified executive? Why was that unified executive better?
Mom, remember we gotta do Frozen for a minute.
Okay, not right now, though, honey. Mommy's at work.
No, you're not.
You see all these? These are all my students talking to me, so I am at work. And I'm going to need
No,
you to go
I'm
see Daddy.
not.
Go see Daddy. I love you.
No, I won't.
Hey, Sean, honey.
No.
Hello, come on.
No.
You're going to have to carry her off.
Here, let's go upstairs and play.
No.
You can-
Mama.
It's okay. I'll see you in a
Come
minute.
on. Come on.
Just
Mommy's
for a minute.
kitchen.
Just for a minute,
Come
baby.
on with me and Wyatt. Help me babysit Wyatt.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Alrighty. June, efficient decision-making. That's right. Amanda's single executive helps avoid factions. Zara, they don't have to worry about other people's opinions. Caroline, it is more efficient. Allison agrees with you. Yes, Riley, things are done more quickly. Same thing, Sydney. Yes, more efficient. Sophie, Nicole, Elaine, it's more unified, so there's not division in the decision that's being made. Gabby and Stephen, you're right. So when issuing an executive or when making an executive agreement or issuing an executive order, they just do it. They just do it themselves. It's quick. It's easy. That's what Hamilton envisioned. That's what Hamilton wanted. And they don't have to go through Congress, which, like Tori said earlier, is kind of lame. And which Kara mentioned is shady for sure, but yet they're all doing it. Okay. Yeah. So you don't have to avoid or you get to avoid all those people arguing. Sophia, you're right. Executive privilege. This is interesting. Which president got into real hot water and actually ended up at the Supreme Court by claiming executive privilege in not wanting to release something? And SCOTUS said, no, release it. The American public needs to hear it. We need to know. We're calling you out. And it was a big deal. Shout out to FDR for making it cool. That's true in so many. Yay, yay, round of applause, round of applause. Nicole, Amanda, Anna, Drew, Katie, Grace, Caroline, Elaine, Lauren, Allison, Mila, Nikita, Melody, Sophia, Sarah, Seisha. No, Seisha. He didn't get to claim executive privilege. He committed perjury, essentially. But I see where you were going. Yes, Nicole, with the water tapes. What's NOPR? Seisha, I don't know what that means. Oh, good. You're all right. Sophie, Melanie, Stephen, Reed, Riley, Stephen with Watergate specifically. Yes, Nixon was very shady, very paranoid, very weird. Logan, Connor, Marissa, Sarah, Haven, Gabby, and yes, the gate of water, Ben. Okay, so Nixon claimed executive privilege. All the presidents at times are going to claim executive privilege, because they don't want Congress to know everything they're doing. Oh, got it, Seisha. They don't want Congress to know everything they're doing. They want the American public to know everything they're doing. You know, guys, I know you're not going to want to hear this. The book that you can access online is really good. Reed, you seriously just woke up? It's 12:30. God, be 18. I'm serious. Check out the book, guys. I'll post in an update how you access it again. But the book has so many good examples of the presidents using executive privilege and not wanting to tell the American people about it. For example, when President Obama was in office, he ordered the killing essentially of two American citizens because they were involved or suspected as being terrorists, and didn't tell the American public about it, didn't tell Congress about it, claimed executive privilege, also claimed that they had power to do so under a very specific piece of legislation that I'm curious if any of you know what it is. And one of you might know what it is because I referenced it in your FRQ feedback that you sent me. Well, good morning, Anna. Kira, that's so nice to say good morning to everybody. Does anybody know this piece of legislation that I'm referring to? Congress passed it after 9/11. Its abbreviation is AUMF. And it kind of reminds me of a piece of legislation that was enacted following the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Patriot Acts are good guesses, guys. They are, Amanda and Riley. Drew, you are correct. It is the authorization of use of military force. Good job, Reese. That's right. Oh, don't hate him, Seisha. Give him one of those fist bumps, like if you were together. He might have Googled it, but that's okay. I mean, that's okay. You were literally typing it out, Seisha. Good job. Yes, authorization of use of military force, Stephen. So after 9/11, this piece of legislation essentially gave President Bush at the time, W. Bush, power to do whatever he needed to do to fight terrorism. Okay? Have we ever declared war on terror? We've declared war on terror, okay? Oh, you guys are funny. We've declared war on terror, but we haven't declared war on an actual nation. You know what I'm saying? Good. You're all right. I'm proud of you. Fist bumps, fist bumps. And how do you think Congress feels about the authorization of use of military force now? 19 years down the road. How do you think Congress feels about it? Josie, there's several executive orders surrounding coronavirus. I mean, essentially, that's what declaring a national emergency did, was to free up federal resources to fight it as best as we can. Yeah, you're right. You guys are right. Katie and Elaine and Lauren and Frank and Shia. Yes, Casey, I will address that momentarily. Okay, I'll address it momentarily. Logan, I'll address that too, okay? But for now, let's just stick with how much Congress hates the AUMF, right? I'm sure we could come up with a clever acronym for that besides authorization of use of military force, but please don't type it out, guys. Just, say it in your head, okay? Guys, I promise we'll address the AP situation in just a minute, okay? So hold off right now. Do you need to all take a chill pill? Hang on. Here. Chill pill. Take it. Take them. Take them. Take them. Chill pills. They're Flintstone vitamins, but we'll just pretend that they're chill pills, okay? We'll just pretend. It's okay, Casey. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay. Chillaxative. Oh, God. We'll make sure you buy a toilet if that's the case. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome for the chill pill. I'm so glad you guys got them all. All right. So do you guys recall how Congress dealt with the Gulf of Tonkin resolution after a while? Do you remember? They are, Caroline. So how did Congress deal with the Gulf of Tonkin resolution? If it was issued in what, 64? Let me look it up. Gulf, 64? 68? 64. Good. Good job, Tori. Good job, Drew. The War Powers Act. And all that is something, thank you, Stephen. That is something that will be on the AP exam that you are still going to take. We'll talk about it in a minute. There's a bunch of things that are interesting about the War Powers Act. All right, Seisha. So the Gulf of Tonkin resolution did authorize President Johnson to take any measures he believed were necessary to retaliate and to promote the maintenance of internal peace and security in Southeast Asia. Doesn't that sound like what the authorization of use of military force did for the presidency following 9/11? It should, because it does. So 9 years after the Gulf of Tonkin incident is when Congress passed the War Powers Resolution. Now, do you guys recall much about the War Powers Resolution from your online PowerPoint that hopefully you all have finished doing your little note-taking guide for? Tell me something about the War Powers Resolution, please. And there's lots of things you can tell me, so I can't wait to see what you got. Great, Tori. So the president does have to notify Congress within 48 hours of doing something. And I like how you phrase that, doing something. That is correct. If they launch an airstrike, if they send in troops, you're correct. They've got to notify Congress within 48 hours. Yes, Stephen. So getting congressional consent. If Congress doesn't agree to committing those troops to those areas where a state of war doesn't exist, those troops have to be withdrawn within, let me see, there it is, Nicole, 60 to 90 days. Now, technically it's 60 days, but if it's going to require additional steps to be taken to ensure the safety of the troops, then it can be extended to 90 days. That is correct. Make sure you know that. Let me go up and read the rest of what you wrote here. Katie, you said it's pretty much ignored now. Wow. That is a statement made by many pundits, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. All righty. So armed conflict without congressional approval. Elaine bringing up the 48 hours. Good job. Caroline, yes, give Congress it. Yeah, it did give Congress some authority back. Very good. Since the president does need approval, they now just don't have a blank check to do whatever they need to do following the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. Yes, Caroline, it did check the POTUS's power. President needs to get congressional approval. Very good after 2 days, Seisha. Congress was reasserting their authority. Very good, Melody. They were essentially taking back their powers that they had surrendered with the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. Reassessing their authority, Allison. Good job, Lindsay, with those specific 60 to 90 days. Marissa requiring congressional approval. So good job there, Lindsay, as well. Yes, Luke, 60-day max unless there's some safety issues, and then it can be extended to 90. Nice, Allison. This is an example of a Congress or a congressional override, which we don't see that much, guys. It's a big deal because what does a override need from Congress? What is needed? If the president vetoes and Congress overrides, how do they do so? I have a hard time not looking at myself, but looking at the camera. I know that's narcissistic. Yay! 2/3 vote. Very good, Anna. What do we call that? Two-thirds vote, Katie. 2/3 vote, Drew. 2/3 vote, Marissa. 2/3 Anna. 2/3 Josie. 2/3 Riley. Sophia, 2/3. What do we call it? What do we call it? Supermajority. Yay, Stephen. That's right. Good job, Zara. Good job, Grace. Good job, Sophie. Good job, Riley. Good job, Marissa. Supermajority. Yay, Josie. Supermajority. It's fun, right? Anything that's beyond a simple majority, 50% plus one. Good job, Melanie. Good job, Sophia. Good job, Shia. Yes, Stephen. Yes, Mackenzie. Nice. So speaking of vetoes, I thought you guys might find it interesting just how many we've had. Okay. Good job, Zara, Rosa, Riley, and Riley. Good job. All righty. Take a wild guess which president vetoed the most. And take a wild guess when in times of eras that vetoes are used the most. I know that was kind of cryptic. Let's see if you can get what I'm asking for here. Yay, Ansley. Good job. So which president